소민아
왜?
지금 프랑스 무슨 일이야?
France is an ally 돼버렸어.
아니 그래도 G7 선진국이잖아.
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
무슨 일인 거야? 지금 뭔가 터져버린 것 같은
왜?
정치, 경제 막 이런 것까지 딱 들어가면은 so many 문제들도 있기도 하고 다른 나라 문제이기도 하고 나한테는 너무 정보가 많이 쏟아지고 있기 때문에 명확하게 정리가 안 되더라고. 그래서 네가 오늘 프랑스라는 선진국이 지금 어떤 위기에 처해 있는지 많은 분들이 정말 궁금해 하시거든. 그래서 좀 알아듣기 쉬운 말로 설명 오늘 해주는 게 어떨까?
Je pense qu'il y a plusieurs choses qui s'entremêlent dans cette crise. Il y a une énorme crise politique, mais la crise politique est stimulée par beaucoup de choses. Il y a la question de l'économie, de la dette, de l'immigration, de la classe moyenne qui est négligée depuis des dizaines d'années. So we are in front of, how do you say that in English? Dead end. Dead end. 한국어로 어떻게 말해?
막다른 길에 몰렸.
막다른 길. For me, the best bang bob to really catch how 국민들 feel, so many different point of views, I swear, is Twitter and YouTube 댓글. 뉴스 비디오에다가 the 댓글.
일반 시민들의 생각을 가장 좀 직접적으로 들여다볼 수가 있으니까.
That's why. 근데 진짜 어이없어. I think a country starts to 망해, and it's the case in a lot of countries, when we feel like the government is above people. This is really 웃겨 when you think about politics. Government is supposed to be working for the people, but ironically now what government became is the opposite. People feel like they are working for the government. And I think in France this has exploded. This 억울한 느낌 is complicated. Of course, historically in Korea, because the country had to rebuild himself, you had this common effort of 국민들 to rebuild the country. 그래서 나 대단하다고 생각해. 근데 in France, we colonized. We were 나쁘게 rich for a very, very long time. 그래서 it's kind of logic하게 we are not used to 노력. I think we were 쉬고 있었어 on this image of a rich, innovative, great country for too long. And politicians abused this image of France. 대단해. France 너무 좋은 나라야, 멋있는 나라야. Politics abused this image to make kind of 국민들 sleepy about it, like everything's fine and everything. 근데 now that the debt is crazy because they abused of this image of 대단함 of France, they ask the 국민들 to repay the debts.
네가 생각했을 때 지금 이 사태를 촉발시킨 가장 큰 문제, 가장 큰 원인은 뭔 것 같아?
To talk about it very easily, I think the Prime Minister, François Bayrou, that quit was kicked out.
많이 바뀌었잖아.
That's why. Some people were talking about it. This is insane. Prime Minister is super important. The Prime Minister is the head of the government, literally. The person chosen to lead the government by the president in one mandat.
One mandat?
Mandat is the kigan of the president to be president. So Macron is doing his second mandat, mandate, I think in English. During his second mandate, 4 years that he got re-elected, we had 4 prime ministers that quit. This is insane. At that point, the president has to resign because it means that his government failed 4 times. So many tweets were relating this, like Elisabeth Borne, du 16 mai 2022 au 8 janvier 2024, Gabriel Attal, who was previously the health minister, became the like 이런 거 그냥
자기들끼리다.
oh, and then he was the spokesperson, and now he's prime minister. It's like you feel like there are a bunch of kids playing different roles. 오늘 you're gonna be the teacher, 오늘 you're gonna be the student. Like doesn't make sense. 믿음이 안 가. So Gabriel Attal, du 11 janvier 2024 au 5 septembre 2024, Michel Barnier, 21 septembre 2024, 13 décembre 2024, and Jail Majimak, François Bayrou, du 13 décembre 2024 au 8 septembre 2025.
다들 1년도 못하고 다 그만뒀네.
And then we have a new one that is from the party of Macron. That is really, really why I want to talk about the prime minister example is that French people are sick because they feel like the government asked the middle class people to pay back the debt of the country.
그러니까 중산층이 희생하기를 요구를 하는 거야.
Except that if we have to do a common effort, I think French people will be okay with that. The problem is how much prime ministers are paid and what they have after even they quit until they die. The money they have and the benefits they have, people are too shocked about it. It's like, but the government that is paid so much don't want to touch about these kind of things, but we have to make effort about retirement. We have to make effort about healthcare. François Bayrou wanted to make us pay more for the healthcare. 근데 자기 salary 절대
낮추지 않아.
Oh, basically in France, right now, you become prime minister and you quit. Let's say forever until you die. You have a personal car and a personal driver. 죽을 때까지. Like 이런 거, French people are too upset. So you have official car and driver. This is estimated at 1.5 million per year. Even when they quit, they have personal staff. So secretary, 같은 사람, for helping them in their future political career and everything. This as well, almost 2 million per year it costs. They have police protection. So it costs money to the state. And 제일 어이없는 거, they become prime minister, they quit, but they have salary until they die. Do you know how much this is? Forever. Like François Bayrou worked 7 months at the government. He did only bullshit. 근데 죽을 때까지
그럼 프라임 미니스터 됐다고.
between 6 and 8,000 per month just for a job that he did for 7
And
months.
then he failed actually.
And he fucking failed. So can you imagine people that are hearing these kind of things?
다시 프랑스 혁명이 일어나야 될 땐가?
Imagine Macron, the second mandate, already 5 prime minister. 그래서 these 5 people, 죽을 때까지, they're gonna win. You see what I mean?
책임을 전혀 안 지고 지금 받아먹을 것만 다 받아먹겠다 이거네?
And then they have healthcare benefits. They are even allowed to ask for a house, even when they fucking quit.
어지럽다 어지러워.
You see what I mean? And then you have this in front of the middle class of France that nowadays the Ilban salary in France, you can't. With the price of the housing, with the kids, with the education, with everything, you can barely afford yourself holidays. So this is a 완전 clash between the government that is so up high and 뻔뻔하게 asking middle class people using the debt as a reason. 열심히 해야 돼.
텍스도 더 많이 내라 그러나?
Politics is psychology. Usually people 깊게 생각하네. You know, like so many people. When they hear tax, immediately they get so upset. So the government knows they can't really touch about tax. So they kind of find other ways to try and get money. For example, François Bayrou, what he tried to do during his couple of months as a prime minister, and this I think started the PAGOK in France. French people들한테 건드릴 수 없는 게 holidays야. You know.
맞아.
Probably some Korean people will be 어이없어 because I know we have a lot of
아니지.
holidays. 근데 문화적이고 religious 하긴 해. 어떤 holidays. Or some people these are important. 의미 있어 for some people. François Bayrou, to save money, wanted to remove forever 2 holidays. One religious, one historical, national. So it comes and condolio a bit the culture of France and religious culture and national culture of France. Rather than thinking about lowering the salaries of high people in the government, they wanted to remove 2 holidays. I really understand French people that were so pissed about that. Like you have so many things to fix in your own government with the salaries, but you want to touch our holidays. But then he wanted to freeze the retirement money, freeze the welfare benefits. Rather than looking at themselves, he wanted to touch holidays, healthcare, and retirement. I mean, can you imagine?
돌아버리지.
That's why.
일반 시민들은.
It is too complex to talk 깊게 about it. 근데 really 대충 말하면 그거야. Rather than trying to change, earn a bit less money because they are already fucking rich, they wanted to touch holidays, healthcare, and retirement. So French people called 10th of September to block the whole country. So they 파업 열심히 했어. And that's how the 8th of September, because 난리 났어 all beginning of September, Bayrou was kicked by the National Assembly.
어떤 영상을 봤는데 프랑스에서 이렇게 시위가 많고 파업이 잦은 이유가 프랑스 사람들은 개혁을 좋아하지 않는데 자꾸 개혁을 하겠다는 거버먼트를 뽑는데.
Exactly.
왜 그런 것 같아?
You know, it's a very weird balance. I don't know much about politics, but I think I know a bit. The biggest 문제 in France, why Macron has been chosen, is that France has this dynamic for so many years now about it's either extreme right, either extreme
맞아,
left.
너무 익스트림해.
둘 다 이미지 안 좋아.
그러니까 중도를 표방하는 마크롱을 뽑는 거지.
Voilà. 근데
마크롱이
최악이야.
중도가 아니야 사실, 그치?
Macron is not center. I don't even know his politics. I don't even get the direction of his politics. I don't know if he's a liberal. I don't know if he's a conservative. I don't know if he's a progressist. I don't even know what he want to try to do.
Working for rich people, I guess.
Honestly, yes. Because, you know, he used to work for Rothschild and he was a banker and I think he's quite capitalist à la minde. But he tries to always pretend to care about the social. 근데 더 이상 pretending 하고 있지
아니야,
않아.
그냥 대놓고 해 이제.
Because he thinks he's untouchable.
아니 왜냐면은 re-elected가 됐잖아. 나를 뽑아줬으니까.
So he worked really hard to make the extreme right and the extreme left as the devil. It kind of flowed the political landscape in France. We felt like Macron밖에 없다. again, the media are to blame as well. No, the medias are not medias anymore. I had a class, by the way, today about Korean media and society. The professor asked us, when something important happens, where do you go and check the information? And we had to choose between government website, TV, and me, I raised my hand for Twitter. I'm not trusting the TV anymore. Everything is
근데
framed.
트위터에도 페이크 뉴스가 너무 많아.
So much, but I trust myself enough to be smart enough to distinguish. I just want to grab the 마음 of the 국민. What's going on in 일반 사람들 life? What people saw on the street? How people feel? What's going on? When I turn on the TV, I know anything I'm gonna hear is gonna be framed. Either way, politic of right, politic of left, or whatever. There is no neutrality anymore on TV.
근데 트위터도 위험하긴 해.
I don't believe 100%. 근데
그러니까
나한테
그 정보에 관해서 외신도 더 많이 읽어봐야 되고 그렇잖아.
It's a starting point.
맞아. 그리고 뉴스 채널들에도 다 보이스가 다 다르잖아. 그러니까 하나만 집중적으로 보는 게 아니고 정말 다양한 채널을 봐야 되는데 우리가
어지러워.
시간이 없잖아. 우리
어지러워.
바쁘잖아 삶이.
I don't want to watch TV and guess the frame. I don't want to guess what influence this TV channel has. I just want to have the raw information. And yes, I know there is a lot of bullshit on Twitter, but sometimes, well, you have facts about people who were there, see what's going on and everything. That's what I want about information. Anyway, this is a paguk because what kind of country changes 5 times of prime minister in one single president
그치.
round?
In 3 years, 4 years. 이거 해결 방법 어떻게 해?
없어?
없어?
없어.
파업을 해도 이게 뭐 안 되고 뭐 그치?
없어.
그럼 프랑스가 좀 전반적으로 좀 마비돼 있나?
It's gonna keep getting worse and worse.
그래서 IMF 위기 같은 것도 올 수 있다 그러던데 프랑스에.
Ah oui, oui, oui.
어때? 이 파국을 바라보는 프랑스 시민의 마음은 어때?
나 France 절대 안 들어가. To live. 절대로. Unless I don't have the choice. I feel so sorry to say that about my country and I hope it's gonna change in the future. But right now, France is not attractive at all. Politically wise, money wise, opportunity wise, security wise, culturally speaking, like I don't see the point. So yeah, I guess Ajikdo, of course you're not French. You have a bit of money and you wanna see wonderful Paris. You wanna see wonderful south of France as a 여행자. 이해해.
마음이 안 좋겠어. 근데 이런 거 보면 있잖아. 우리가 살고 있는 지금 이 세상이 소시오패스들이 운영하고 있는 것 같아.
Oui, oui, c'est ça.
공감 능력 제로. 일반 시민들의 마음이나 상태나 뭐 이런 것들을 헤아리고 공감하고 그거를 솔브하려는 노력이 전혀 없어. 그냥 진짜 있는 자들의 배를 더 어떻게 하면 불려주고 자기 걸 어떻게 하면 더 킵할 수 있는지 그런 마인드가 강력한 사람들이 파워를 갖는 거야. 그러니까 소시민들이 힘들어질 수밖에 없는 거지. 어딜 가나 요즘에 세상이 진짜 어지럽다.
There is this, and I think there is as well a very natural bill of arrogant capitalism that we have been doing for many, many years. After the Second World War, during the Second World War, capitalism was presented to us as the only way to survive. Either you were capitalist or either you were communist. We were left with this kind of two options that either you are not really advanced person as a communist or you want to follow the future and you become a capitalist. And we only had these two options, and I understand it back then, but today we understand capitalism in a country like France was absolutely not handled properly.
나는 프랑스가 캐피탈리즘 속에 살고 있으면서도 캐피탈리즘을 되게 disguised한 그런 느낌이 있어.
Yeah, yeah.
다들 그걸 싫어하면서 또 어쩔 수
맞아,
없이
맞아.
받아들이고 있는 그런 느낌?
Yes.
그러니까 이게 자연스럽게 가지를 못하는 거지.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's so 복잡해. but,
복잡해. 정답이 없어. 이게 우리가 뽑아준 사람들이 이 나라를 리드해 가는 거잖아. 조금 더 그 힘에 대한 책임감을 가지고 너무 이상적인 말이긴 하지만 대다수의 일반 시민들을 좀 생각하는 정책들 어떻게 하면 그들과 함께 조화롭게 행복하게 살 수 있는가를 많이 고민을 해줬으면 좋겠다는 거지.
But in the case of France, this is too late because of the debt. no, that's the terrible thing. Now
한국도
came...
IMF 겪은 거 알지?
Yes.
Got over.
Again, why did you get over?
이게 그거지.
Voilà.
모빌라이즈드 해가지고.
Do you see France being mobilized right now?
아니,
Absolutely
굉장히
not.
또 개인주의가 강하잖아.
Absolutely not. Culturally speaking, impossible. And politically speaking, impossible.
근데 지금 한국에도 같은 위기가 닥친다면은 예전만큼 모빌라이즈 될지는 모르겠어.
It's normal. Because the recent history of Korea is not the recent history Korea was like 50 years ago or 30 years ago.
근데 또 전체를 위해서 개인이 희생하는 것도 그것도 문제가 있거든.
Of course, that's why it's very tricky. But just France is not a country I would bet on for the future. Korea, oppositely, 굳이 구별해야 한다면 I will bet for sure on a country like Korea. I don't know what's coming, but I think it's gonna be really, really terrible. I hope I'm wrong, of course.
그래도 프랑스는 혁명의 나라고 민주주의에 많은 영감을 준 나라야. 지금 네가 지금 눈가를 뒤집어 까도 그게 실제 했던
That's what I'm telling
역사고
you.
그렇기 때문에 프랑스 국민들도 좀 힘내서 위기를 잘 극복하기를 바라는 마음을 좀 너에게 전달하고 싶어서 그런 거야.
Historically, yes, but I told you the country surfed on this wave for way too long. And that's why this is a paguk today.
그래도 you guys dragged the king and queen and cut the head off.
How long ago?
그게 엄청나게 많은 다른 나라들에게 영감을 줬다니까.
프랑스 사람들이 노이성 이런 사람 아니야.
아 슬프다.
Voilà. I don't know if it was very clear. 나한테도 힘들어. 어려워. 아니, you come at the government for 8 months. bullshit 하면서
다 가질 건 가지고.
you end up rich until the end of your life.
같은
That's-
혜택을 5명한테 다 줘야 되는 거야.
Yes.
그러면
Personal driver. They can potentially have a house and they have fucking retirement.
원래 한 명이 끝까지 해야 되는 거 아니야? 그 정부 내내?
That's why.
아니 근데 진짜
Forever
이거는
until
마크롱이 뭐 책임져야 되는 거 아니야
I
진짜?
know.
아,
Until
내가
they
화가 나네
die.
그냥.
A salary that is 3 times higher than any 일반 French people.
아니 중간에 그렇게 낙오돼가지고 잘 하지도 못해가지고 쫓겨난 프라임 미니스터들도 다 그 똑같은 혜택을 받는다는
This
거지.
is disgusting.
진짜
So-
내가 화가 난다. 뭐야 일도 제대로 못해놓고 뭘 다 가져간대.
So people can't 받아들여 anymore. Especially when you tell them this is the crisis, we are in debt, 열심히 해야 돼. They can't hear this. They can't.
어지럽다.
Voilà.
voilà 여러분. 혼란합니다.
Ouais.
프랑스는 당분간 여행도 조금.
But I have my Tumblr. So I'm okay.
그래요. 물이나 많이 마시고 건강 챙겨. 응? 여러분도 각자 도생. 각자 알아 잘 살아남읍시다란 말이야.
Bah ouais, pardon, mais bon, voilà.
혼란한 세상 열심히 살아봅시다. 살아남읍시다.
열심히 하도록 그냥 행복하게,
나도.
간단하게.
아 맞아. 너무 큰 욕심 안 부리고 그냥 나도 살아있는 동안 그냥 인간답게 살고 싶다.
Oui, voilà, 인간답게. Mais non,
With dignity.
큰 욕심 있으면 of course you have
아,
to reach.
그럼.
답이 없어. 답이 없어.